welcome back to another episode of Hands Down DFS. Today we are going back with the sneaky stacks. We obviously know that the Rams and Cardinals are going to be a good game. We know Seahawks 49ers are going to be a good game. We know that Browns Vikings, Panthers Cowboys, Chiefs Eagles, all of those with over 50 points implied based on their lines this week. So we know that those are going to be good spots to hit this week. So we are going to be looking at some of the games that don't have as high of over-unders for the week. Might be seeing less exposure, some sneaky stacks as we call them here. First, we're just going to jump right into it. We are going to go with Daniel Jones and the Giants. I know last week we were pretty high on Daniel Jones, and it turned out that he didn't do very good. He came in kind of rough from where we were looking at for hoping he was going to be against Atlanta. It was a surprisingly low-scoring game with Atlanta. We thought there was going to be a lot more points in it. He wasn't able to find the end zone at all. He only got 16 points after not seeing under 20. A lot of people are going to be moving off Daniel Jones because they were pretty high on him last week. His price hasn't moved at all. We would like to see a little bit in the dip in his price, but it looks like it's going to be in the same spot. But we still like him because of the exposure. And then also, we really like the stack opportunities because Sterling Shepard is most likely not going to be playing in this game. He did not participate in practice as of Thursday. He was a scratch where he got injured during the game due to a hamstring injury on Sunday's game. So we liked the stack between Shepard and Jones. That kind of hurt that he wasn't going to be in there. So somebody that I like to have in as a stack is either Kenny Golladay to be kind of just... Last week he had 5 targets. He was able to have 64 yards. He wasn't able to get into the end zone, but nobody in the passing game was because Daniel Jones didn't throw for a touchdown. So I like them to be able to get some garbage time points against the New Orleans Saints as they're projected to win this game. And so I think the passing yards are going to be there as Daniel Jones and the Giants should be playing from behind. I don't think it's going to be as close as the game was last week against the Falcons, so they should be throwing the ball a lot more. Another guy that I really like, and this is who I'm really going to be looking at for stacking. I don't care if you hit Golladay and this guy, but I really want to have a lot of KADARIUS TONEY this week. Only 3 targets. There's a whole deal at the beginning of the year that he wasn't going to be playing as much, and he was kind of angry about it, and there was the whole drama behind it, but that looks to be behind him. If Sterling Shepard is going to be out and Darius Slayton also suffering injuries, if you see that down there as well, it looks like that Toney is going to be the slot guy here for the Giants, and that is going to be a great spot going against the New Orleans Saints. So I really like that stack. Not necessarily looking to bring it back anyway with anybody on the Saints side. You can throw Callaway or Harris, or maybe if you want to throw Kamara in there, I think you can have a lot of points as well. But I really do like Daniel Jones and KADARIUS TONEY. Even if you want to throw Golladay in there as well, you're going to have a pretty solid starting spot where you're going to see some low ownership on these guys, but you are going to be able to hopefully have a lot to work with for the rest of your salary. So that's the first stack, the Giants. Probably my favorite sneaky stack of the week. The second one that I really like, and again, I keep going back to this team. I don't know why. I really like Zach Wilson this week against the Titans. The Titans haven't shown that they are able to play defense at all. Everyone's projecting them to win this game. I think they do. Zach Wilson, we've seen he improved last week after throwing 4 interceptions the week before. He only threw 3 this week, but he has 7 on the year. Him and Trevor Lawrence are in an arms race to see who can throw the most interceptions. I think this is a week where we see a little bit better of a passing game from Zach Wilson and the Jets. I think you're going to be able to go against a defensive line that isn't as dominant as some of the teams that they've gone against. I mean, Carolina looks to be a good defense. New England looks to be a good defense. And so does Denver. So it's not like he's been playing against these scrub teams and playing bad. I'm not saying that the Titans are a scrub team, but their defense is pretty bad this year. So I do like Zach Wilson to be able to have a little bit more of a game like he had against Carolina than he had against New England, who we know is really good against rookie quarterbacks, and Denver, who has one of the best defenses this year. So I like Zach Wilson, and then because I like Zach Wilson, I really want to pair him up with either Corey Davis, who I think will have a strong game this week, and then I also think Elijah Moore could have another one. This could be another double stack, maybe even bring Braxton Berrios into this, as he's less expensive than Elijah Moore and has been getting more targets. Last week he only had 3, but before that he had 21, which is insane. And so, not 21, he had 18, I apologize. And so that is definitely a spot that I like to go. Zach Wilson and then Corey Davis, because I don't think that the Titans have a shutdown number 1 wide receiver or cornerback to shut down the number 1 wide receiver on the opposite side. And then I also think Braxton Berrios is going to be either getting high targets this week, especially we do see that Elijah Moore is a little bit banged up this week. Not necessarily sure how much it's going to affect him, because it is the concussion protocol, and it could be that if he gets cleared, then he's fine and he jumps right back in, like we saw with Trey Sermon, who really didn't practice much of last week and then was able to play for the 49ers last week. So the final stack that we're going to touch on is the 49ers, not the 49ers, the Falcons, I apologize, going up against the Washington football team. I really do not like what I'm seeing out of Matt Ryan so far this year. I think that's going to be why this is my 3rd favorite on the list of the sneaky stacks. I think his ownership is going to be pretty low. Washington football team is a team that there's 2 narratives out there on the Washington football team. One is that they're a good defense, and the other narrative is that they played garbage quarterbacks all last year. That's why people think that they're a good defense. This year, their linebackers aren't very good. The defensive line hasn't been getting as much pressure as they did the year before. And we're kind of starting to see that maybe this defense isn't as good as we thought they were. I'm in the second boat. I don't think the Washington football team defense is as good. I think Chase Young is still a monster. I think that there is a lot of opportunity for the Falcons to be able to have that game where, you know what, they finally show up. They finally have the game that we're expecting them to have. We were expecting that a little bit last week against the Giants, so I'm not super locked in on this, but I do think if you get Russell Gage, who was able to come back after his injury, he hasn't practiced on Wednesday. We don't have a report on Thursday, so he'll be someone to look at. If he doesn't come back, then I like Zacchaeus a lot. I don't necessarily know if I love Calvin Ridley, just because of how high his price is, and we haven't seen him be able to be that productive. But again, a lot of people are pretty low on Calvin Ridley, so you could get some ownership boost there. And then another guy, because we haven't talked about tight ends at all, is Kyle Pitts. Like I said, the linebackers for Washington have kind of gone down in quality. They have Bostic and they have Holcomb, and neither of them are very good in the coverage. They're more run stoppers, specifically Bostic is. And so if you're able to get Kyle Pitts, who can kind of line up and take advantage of that weaker matchup, this could be the first game where we see Kyle Pitts really take off, and he's at $5,000, which is a pretty decent price point. It did go up by 100 from last week, because he did have not really a great game, but I think they just like the matchup more. So this is a solid matchup. Maybe you go, instead of Ridley, you go with Zacchaeus if Gage is out. You also have Sharp and Blake, who are expected to see some run, but I don't think either of them are going to be any worth any play this week. So that is the stacks. So kind of reviewing it, I like Daniel Jones with Golladay and Toney against the Saints. I like Zach Wilson. You can do Davis, Moore, or Braxton Berrios. I even think that if you do 2 of those 3, I don't think you're hurting yourself. We'll have to see on the concussion for Elijah Moore and his status at the end of the game, end of the week before the game starts. And then finally, Matt Ryan is my 3rd favorite sneaky stack. When you get either Gage, depending on his ankle, seeing how he's playing, but then you have Zacchaeus. You also have Ridley, you have Pitts, you have a lot of options there, and heck, you can even bring it back with Terry McLaurin or Antonio Gibson if you want to do that as well, if you think that's going to be a game where it's more points than the 48 that it's projected to have. So coming off of a rough week against the Giants, I think people are going to be low with Atlanta, so you can get some ownership there, but I don't necessarily love the plays, but I think it's a pivot spot where you can see a lot of good usage if we see the old Matt Ryan. So that's it for this one. We're going to have this video up today. Thursday, and then we'll have our final look sometime coming up either Friday or Saturday. So be sure to like and subscribe so you get the notification for when that goes live. Feel free to follow, as well as we'll have some prize picks up for who we like in the Bengals and the Jaguars game. So that's it for now, and be looking for that content coming out shortly.